Don Georgievich here, author of the Complete Interview Answer Guide. And today, I'm going to answer the question for you, tell me about yourself, just like I do inside the Complete Interview Answer Guide. I mean, where to start? What do they want to know? I mean, should you start in high school, college, first grade? I mean, it's one of the most frequently asked questions in the interview. I mean, the way you answer this question is going to set the tone for the rest of the interview. I mean, this can be a challenging question to answer if you're not prepared for it, but it's really asked as an icebreaker. Now, like I said, this is an open-ended question, but really what the interviewer wants to hear about is your recent work experience. I mean, why don't they just ask, about your recent work experience? Because they want to see where you're going to go with an open-ended question. I mean, your answer tells them a lot. It tells them where your mind is. If you start telling them, when they ask this question, that you're a Cleveland Browns fan, well, then you're way off base with what they want to hear, and you've just made your first interview mistake. Now, what do you want the interviewer to know about you when you leave? Do you want them to know about your work experience or your personal interests? I'm confident their hiring decision is going to be based on your work experience. Save your personal interests for the water cooler after you get the job. Now, I'm going to tell you the wrong way to answer this question. Don't throw it back in their lap and say, "What would you like to know?" That answer has really been floating around for a while, and all it really does is just kind of shove that question right back at the interviewer in an insulting way. And then they just have to re-ask the question, and they're just not going to appreciate that. A better way to answer that would be to say, what part of my work experience would you like me to talk about? And I say it this way because, now the interviewer, they can reply with a simple, straightforward answer. Some interviewers want you to start from your first job, they had 30 years ago, and others just want to hear about what you've been doing recently. If the interviewer would like you to start from the first job, assuming it's been several years since you had the job, then lightly touch on the jobs that you no longer hold, but expand on your current or most recent jobs, experience and accomplishments, the ones that are more relevant to the job that you're applying for. Focus your answer and talk about your accomplishments from your current or most recent job, and lightly touch on your daily duties. These are the things an interviewer really wants to hear. Because if he thinks you were successful at your past job, then you'll be successful at this job. Even if you don't feel that you accomplished anything, look deep and think of something you did that helped the company. Or better yet, describe an accomplishment that you contributed to the company. Just make sure it's in the same line of work. Don't take credit for boosting sales, if your job was to fix computers. It's just totally unrelated. Briefly talk about your current employer or your past employer. Discuss 2 to 3 of your most significant accomplishments, and talk about a few of your key strengths as they relate to the job for which you're applying for, and how they can benefit, and how the employer can benefit from your strengths. Then, discuss how you see yourself fitting into a position at their company. Lay it out for them. Tell them what you see. Tell them how you are going to be an integral part of their company and help them grow. Talk about how you complete projects on time and under budget. Tell them how you've increased sales revenues for 2 straight quarters in a row. Describe how you came up with a new procedure that saved the company money. You could say, I have been in the customer service industry for several years, and most of my experience has been dealing with calls from our customers. I truly enjoy working with the people in this business, as well as the challenges. In my last job, the good relationships I formed with my customers resulted in me holding the highest customer retention rate of everyone else in my department. Now, you'd want to use that answer if you were going for a customer service job. And you could even change that around a little bit to make it fit your industry and make it your own answer. Because one thing I want you to get from this is I don't want you to memorize my answers, because that's not going to do you any good. But I want you to see the language I use and how I bring it all together. And I want you to do it too. And I design these answers in exactly that way. Another way to answer this question, you could say, one of my best strengths is my attention to detail. When I set out to work on a task or a project, I always make sure it's good. Let's do that again. One of my best strengths is my attention to detail. When I set out to work on a task or project, I always make sure it gets done on time. This is Don Georgievich for the Complete Interview Answer Guide at jobinterviewtools.com. Stop by my site anytime, and you'll see more questions and answers. Bye-bye now.